here comes the rain, which is good because it's been pretty dry here in July in Michigan. According to the U.S. Drought Monitor, we're significantly behind the average in terms of our normal seasonal precipitation. And so if you live around here, you've probably been watering the garden quite a lot. Luckily, it was raining yesterday and last night, and it's sprinkled a little bit throughout the day, and it's starting to sprinkle again now. But finally. After weeks of unseasonably hot and dry weather, we finally had a downpour the last couple of days, gotten a few inches of rain. And since the U.S. Drought Monitor had our area significantly behind in moisture for the season, hopefully this rain is going to really help to rehydrate the landscape. So let's go take a look at the soil and see how much of this rain is soaked in. Oh sheesh! Look at that! It's every bit as dry and dusty as it was before the rain. How is that even possible? Well, when the soil surface gets dry, it actually becomes hydrophobic, closing up its pores to conserve soil moisture. But what that means is that it takes a significant amount of soil moisture to open those pores back up so that water can soak in. So what happens in poorly designed and poorly managed landscapes is that in a small rain, most of the water, and even in a large rain, a lot of the water doesn't end up in our garden where we need it. Instead, it ends up in the stormwater system or in our drainage ditches, depending on whether you live in an urban area or the country. So let's see that in action. Yes, as we can see, this water isn't soaking in at all. It's just rolling right off the surface down, right down the lawn. So that means that since our gardens stay dry even in the rain through these droughty summers, we look for alternatives such as fancy pants irrigation systems. Drip irrigation, subsurface irrigation are probably the most efficient of them. The problem is, for most people in most situations, university research has found it really difficult to be able to recommend for those and have findings where they actually pay for themselves. Permaculture, on the other hand, offers a whole suite of water conservation measures that are affordable, accessible to just about anyone, and truly effective and have a real paid return on investment that will help make your gardening and your farming more valuable to you. And that system starts by a holistic site design that makes sure that when it does rain, that water ends up in the soil where your plants can actually use it, and instead of in drainage ditches and the stormwater system. Take, for example, this beautiful apricot guild forest garden area here, which is designed to catch and store water from over half of our house. The water is routed from overflows in our rain barrels into these surface drains, which in turn deliver the water into a system of swales, which are basically like ditches except they're on contour. So rather than moving water, they hold it in place and soak it into the soil. This forest garden area has a series of these so that it catches all the water and soaks it in and keeps it where plants can use it. Here we see a cheap little colored pencil drawing of how that works. And that is just one part of permaculture's five-fold strategy for water-wise landscapes. Here we also see in this bed a thick, deep layer of organic mulch that conserves moisture in the soil. It also helps to keep the soil cooler so that plants transpire moisture at a slower rate. Beyond that, The deep mulch layer also helps to build soil quality, because good quality soil makes the moisture that's there work longer and spread further, making it more bioaccessible to plants when they need it. We also see that we've used the right plants for the right spot throughout our garden. Here, we've used marshmallow and valerian, plants that are very happy to get the extra water from on top of the house. And finally, we see almost very natural forest-like combination of plantings and plant densities. In permaculture, we use the right plant density and right plant spacings for the climate and the plants that we want to try to grow. Typically, that means using dense plantings that create a forest-like microclimate underneath them, keeping the soil covered and holding soil moisture down there where the plants can use it. As the season goes and the plants grow, we'll thin them out, always keeping that tight planting but giving the spacings to the plants that they need to grow and thrive. So let's take a look back at that soil here in this bed, in this forest garden area. As we can see, it's thick and rich, it's black, it's dark, and it's still quite moist to the touch. Let's see how this permaculture bed handles the bucket of water test. Oh, there it goes, pouring in there, and I see some of it running into the swale. Oh, there it is. It has all disappeared into the soil underneath the mulch, right down in there where the plants are going to be able to take use of it, and it's going to stay there over a long period of time. So there you have it. A whole suite of permaculture strategies for a water-wise landscape, starting with a whole site design that analyzes where the water is coming onto the property, catches it, and holds it as high in the landscape for as long as possible, then filters it down through the rest of the landscape, rehydrating the entire landscape holistically. There are a suite of strategies that are both affordable and accessible that anyone can do pretty much anywhere. They don't just save water. They work holistically to turn your landscape into a healthy, vibrant ecosystem. And that way, we can save the fancy pants stuff like drip irrigation and subsurface irrigation for the places that truly need it and that'll get us the best return on our investments. To learn more, visit www.lilyhouse.blogspot.com.